What's going on? Hello and welcome to the Esk8 UK live experience. Myself, James Esk8 Wales, Esk8 James, and of course, as always, Silent Suki. Tonight we got something a little bit interesting. We got the top 40 events, I guess, or Esk8 of the year. So tell us more about it, James.
So yes, I have been doing sort of like a yearly sum up for the past 3 years, which is on my YouTube channel as well, and it's on here as well with the Facebook group. But yeah, I realised I was doing all these volumes of Eastgate news, and obviously we often see these looking back through the year events on TV, and I thought, can I do that? And it's gone well so far. But this year there were 40, not 50 moments that I thought were really interesting and just kind of made it a fascinating year, I think. So that's kind of what this is. There's also an extra 10 at the end of this, which is our kind of wishes going forwards because we want some things to change.
So we've got the 50 in the end.
Yeah. Okay, then. So to start off with, we have MaxFind and how they introduced their Max 6 Slimline series of boards, which were belt driven. Have you heard much about this model, James?
It was originally it's a hub drive originally. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think it's good to kind of see more slimline models appear because that stealthiness is still needed because they aren't legalized everywhere, unfortunately.
Not all around the world, not yet.
Hmm. But this is kind of one of the things that's happened this year. We're often seeing quite a lot of options between you can have this with belt drive, you can have this with gear drive, you can have this with hub motors, you can have single kingpin, double kingpin. It's been a year of options, honestly, and this is one of the good examples of that.
Something for everyone then, isn't it? All the varieties.
Absolutely. So moving on to item number two. SK Wheel, or Ski Wheel, I suppose, they introduced these electric inline ski skates, and they had a very, very successful Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign, crowdfunding. We love it, and it's not often we see electric roller skates, and these ones, well, they have a pivot in front end. They are like a pair
Ah,
of skis, and it's one of those new things that's emerging, a whole new genre, which has yet to be properly explored. I mean, we've had electric skateboards for about 10 years now, wouldn't you say, the modern ones?
uh, quite popular for 10 years at least now, isn't it? A little
Yeah.
bit longer maybe.
So this is kind of one that I think we should probably keep an eye on because they're quite interesting. Okay, moving on to item number three. Shredlights revises their SL1000 headlights with their newer Bluetooth features. This is something that happened, those little incremental changes where before it was just you got to bend down, press a button. Now you just press a button on your phone and they all light up at the same time because of the power of Bluetooth. Um,
Convenient.
how more tech can you make a pair of lights? But they did it.
Yeah, that's good then, isn't it? That's convenient.
I mean, there's a certain novelty to switching on all your lights at once with the press of a button. It's kind of like these motorized
Chris-
blinds I have. Just
giving
press a
me
button,
Christmas
walk away.
Christmas vibes, you know?
Yeah. They revised a few other things like the brackets, so it wouldn't be as difficult to slide out and remove. Um, but it's nice to see these incremental changes that shred lights they're still around and they keep trying to innovate, which is great to see.
Yeah, that's what we need. Keep moving forward.
Yeah. Moving on to item number four. Um, a company called PidZoom appeared and they made a two-piece wireless horn system where you've got a little button in your hand, kind of like the hand buzzers that the Joker would have, and you've got the horn which will go on your belt or in your pocket. And it was designed for electric unicycle riders who wanted a really loud horn. Originally started out at like 110 decibels, 120, 130 even now. So quite significantly loud horns. But the funny thing is, it also doubles as a disc lock alarm in a sense. So if you hit it, it starts beeping. You hit it again, and it starts beeping like a disc lock on a motorcycle. It's what a feature to have.
That's That's interesting.
And they've been doing some interesting things. I'll mention another one of those further down the line, but it's one of those things where it's like a bell can only do so much, especially when there's all the um, kind of noise pollution of engines in cars.
This isn't the one that you've got, is it, James? You had quite a
It
loud one
is.
when we.
It is.
Ah, this, yeah, I was impressed with the volume on it.
Mm. And like I said,
Yeah,
they revised this after I bought it and made it even louder.
even
Um,
louder. Wow. I
mm,
thought yours was plenty loud enough, to be honest with you.
exactly. And it's those little things like where do you put the horn on a skateboard? Well, they figured it out.
Cool.
Right. Moving on to number 5. Propel EV celebrates their 5th year in business anniversary. And it's good to see because, I mean, the lifespan of electric skateboards as companies is like mayflies sometimes. Um, 5 years is something to be proud of. So, what do you think about
Yeah,
that?
it sounds like middle age to me in Eastgate terms.
Are you a middle aged electric skateboard company? What a quote
Yeah.
for tonight.
Oh, good
Gosh.
on them. Good luck. We all love Russ. He's very vocal in the States, isn't he?
Exactly. I mean, it's one thing to design a decent electric skateboard. It's another to stay in the business and not kind of give up.
Yeah,
To like you say, stick with the community, and if they're
yeah,
there, they'll come and buy your boards.
absolutely.
Moving on to item number 6. There was a short character-driven film called Pushback about someone with the desire for a one wheel, and I'd never heard of this, and it resurfaced. It was like 2 years old, I think, this film, but it's one of those things where there's not many films about electric skateboards, electric one wheels, even songs, poetry, and to see a film about someone that kind of wants to get out of the house and wants is jealous of somebody with a one wheel, and then the struggles of learning to use it. And the dad's like, "Why would you want one of those?" I'll buy you one.
Oh,
It's really good to yeah.
a good title, Pushback, isn't it? Because I know that's what all the one wheelers fear,
Mm-hmm. So I think
Survivalism.
it's definitely worth mentioning because there are these little things where you think, wait, there is a film, and it's character
Yeah,
driven, not just like an advert, but I suppose it's an advert.
yeah. The things to get people into riding these vehicles is always good, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Moving on from that, a rather interesting one. X-Way released their full-color Rexus remote, and this is the same remote with the kind of gyroscopic movements to control the indicators on their board. But yeah, full-color remotes, they definitely are the future, the present, and it's quite a popular remote, which has been used by other companies now, I believe.
I think MBS now, isn't it? That they're
Hmm.
using that with their hobby wingy SC in their board. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny how it has all these different presets to add moods to your electric skateboard remote. And it's one of those things where I'm like, do I need this feature? Yes. Yes, I do.
Got a soft spot for lights, haven't we?
I do. I do.
We
The more lights, lights. You know us, we like bright ideas.
aha, ba boom.
Indeed. Moving on to number 8, New York City set to launch Department of Sustainable Delivery to regulate e-bikes, mopeds, and motorcycles in that New Yorkers rely on for delivery services. I thought that was rather interesting. A whole department saying, "Can we do delivery? Through these electric vehicles, through micromobility safely, and how do we go about it?" I thought that was rather interesting, rather than just going, "No, you're not allowed." They actually
So,
made a department for it.
okay, I mean, not like just the enforcement department. They are one sort of trying to be positive and encouraging. I hope. Yeah.
I certainly hope so. But
Hmm.
it's one of those things where it's nice to see these little kind of political movements building that say, well, let's figure out how to do this, rather than just
Yeah.
saying no.
Yeah. It is the future, so let's get on board.
Absolutely. Number 9, a mini Esk8 documentary, The Art of Ride, appears on the YouTube channel War Riders. This one was rather interesting because they were asking all these people, like, why? What do you see in electric skateboards, electric unicycles? What's the point of it? What does it bring to your life? And it's what I mean. There's not many documentaries out there, and I thought it was definitely worth mentioning that one.
Yeah.
I think what I find so upsetting is that there's these wonderful documentaries, music videos, songs. Nobody knows about them. and they have like maybe 66 views or maybe 700 likes at the most, and it's like they deserve more likes.
Definitely underrepresented on that
Mm.
visibility, aren't we? Need some
Okay.
crossover things.
Number 10, new model from Propel EV called X4R. Previously, it was 756 watt hour capacity, and now it's ballooned to 1,554 watt hours, which
Sounds
is a lot
twice
of,
the size. Yeah,
yeah. And it just goes to show what can happen when they try and upgrade an older model. And I mean, that's some serious battery density.
it is.
And
That's what.
there's,
That's what.
there's
That's what. That's one for Minty who's rocking out tonight, isn't it?
mhm, mhm. It's one of those where it's like, can you do road trips on this? Hell yes.
Yeah,
And we like to see road trips, and those people who say, "Oh, you can't go to Whitby on that. Watch me."
definitely. Either that or swappable batteries.
Absolutely. And now, speaking of swappable batteries, this one's a sad one. Number 11. Revel boards and their quick swappable battery system go boosted. They closed their website, and it's sad to see them go because Revel boards, Revel drive, Revel system, whatever you want to call it, was quite interesting. The swappable batteries like a cordless drill, the direct drive system, the fact you could make it all-wheel drive, and it's one of those where they could have easily redesigned it, upgraded it, and they never did. And the company just typically went out of business when I finally got two of their systems.
You beat me to that, James. Just after I was wondering earlier with Propel if it got you on the blacklist, they won't sell you any wheels or don't sell to this e-skater. I'm
But
joking.
it's the kind of unfortunate reality of the situation that some electric skateboard companies don't survive 3 years, let alone 5 years. And it's nice while it lasted, and it's such a wonderful system. And I really do wish they'd come back, kind of like how we all hope Boosted would come back someday.
Yeah, I hear just very quickly. I think Lacroix, there's rumblings that well, I know they've been bought and they might be coming back in some form. So
Very good,
watch out for that next year, everyone.
very very good. Moving on from that, number 12, new wheels and rims from A-Stack. This is what they claimed. The first ever slick racing tyre designed exclusively for electric skateboards. Made out of vulcanized rubber, bearing quick removal technology without damaging the hub. Quick and easy assembly hoods, multi-bearing compatible, CNC aluminium alloy, balancing weights can be attached. That's an interesting one. Racing tires made for electric skateboards rather than just mountain board ones with a very small contact patch.
I think I've seen something similar before, but looks good. So
Mhm.
I would just question the first. So, but yeah, great.
Yeah, it's one of those weird claims where they're like, "It's not true," but if it is, there's. If it
Yeah,
ain't, hmm.
as long as it's good, as long as it's good, doesn't have to be first.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of really interesting designs on how you can quickly change these like a pit crew. So,
Yeah, I've seen some hubs fairly recently. I think it was Lin Power where they got this quick release system.
mhm, mhm.
You just don't want it releasing when you're riding, but people who've got them tell me it's very good and no fear of that happening.
Yeah. Up next, number 13, and this one was rather funny. A new mixed gymnastics sport is invented: electric skateboard, e-skate pole vaulting. This is a sport I need to
Yeah,
try, and I need to
yes, I've
see
seen
this
this.
in e-skate Las Vegas. I need to see this
Mario.
worldwide, and I need to do this myself, obviously. The
Well,
sport you didn't know you needed in your life.
yes. Yeah, I've seen this a while back. The first time I ever saw it, it was on the board that I used to have, the big, huge Bigfoot.
Hmm. It's, it's
It's not
just
in this case.
it's just sheer spectacular sports. This,
Yeah,
I mean, I would pay to see this on TV. Never mind,
definitely.
skateboarding in the Olympics. Do this.
Well, be interesting being the person on the remote, isn't it? Because
Oh,
you got to trust your remote operator for that, haven't you?
well, that could be the way you do it. Like, here's the remote. Here's without the remote, and hold on for dear life. Fly.
Definitely. I guess good for people who are good at vaulting but can't sprint very quick. The board is giving you the forward momentum, isn't it?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So moving on from one entertaining thing to another, number 14, Lorenz Boards celebrates April Fool's Day by teasing 26-inch Hercules wheels, the best ground
Hercules.
clearance ever on electric skateboards. And I know it's a joke, but I would try these buggers.
Yeah, you would have some serious clearance with those, wouldn't you?
I mean, even if it's done as like a joke build, somebody needs to make these. I don't care. Do it now.
I saw a motorbike recently with ridiculously big wheels, like really seriously oversized, you know, and that was
Yeah.
being ridden in the on a video clip I saw, you know.
Hmm. Right, moving on to number 15, back to PID Zoom. So they introduced a helmet mirror, heavily tested by EUC riders, because obviously there's all these shoddy stick-on helmet mirrors, and they're
Yeah,
not really properly tested. And this was, rattled to hell. And people say it's decent, so I think it's worth mentioning for EUC
yeah.
riders and people that want to have a helmet mirror.
I bought something, not this one, and mine was very fragile and didn't last very long. And obviously, our EUC friends, they're facing forward, aren't they? At least
Mhm.
we're sideways, we can look over our back shoulder. So yeah,
Exactly.
great.
But it's nice to see, these little innovations that we think surely we can make a mirror that doesn't fall apart.
I've seen a helmet with a camera. You know, more, I think they designed more for motorbikes, but I've seen people
Hmm.
using those on the EUCs as well. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, moving on to number 16. Esk8 YouTuber Daniel Kwan scrutinizes a news article and its confused claims about best electric skateboard. This was one to watch. He was not holding any punches. He was like, "That's rubbish," and it was nice to see them call out this
Oh,
clickbait news article and be like, "Right, wrong, wrong,
yeah,
wrong."
yeah. They just promoting what they're trying to sell a lot of these times, aren't they?
Mhm. And it's good to see somebody with true knowledge in this subject
Yeah,
kind of warn people about it and say that's not actually the best one. That's just
yeah.
the cheapest one.
And has Daniel got a board coming out himself now? I think recently, isn't it? Or he's heavily
Hmm.
promoting one I saw recently.
I'm not sure. It's a new company, I think, but
Yeah.
I want to like post proper articles on that when it comes out,
Okay. We'll wait.
which
We'll
will
wait.
probably be
We'll
next year.
wait on that one.
Yeah, but it's done an interesting video on a quite a slimline design. Okay, moving on to number 17. This one you could, in theory, call it the electric skateboard of the year. And X-Way introduced two new models, one called the Flex Paragon, which had swappable batteries, and the Flex 2 Pro. And they introduced, I think it was called the Bifrost lighting system. So the LED lights all the way around the skateboard deck could go any color you wanted. You weren't stuck with, say, a green board or a red board or a yellow board. And it also has indicators of all things. Indicators in an electric skateboard, and the remote gyroscope works, and as you tilt it, it turns and activates. And it's that where it's like, wow, what a leap in terms of technology.
Yeah, I think that will help sort of road use, won't it, going forward and
Hmm.
being accepted. Indicators, horns, all these kind of things.
Yeah. I mean, even if they just introduced full RGB lighting around the skateboard, that in itself is a step forward because you're not stuck with just the one color that you have. But the fact they introduced swappable batteries again, kind of like a Tupperware box, which I find very hilarious with the clips, and also indicators, flipping indicators on an electric skateboard. Wow, you didn't think it was possible, and they do it. So yeah, hands down, this has to be electric skateboard of the year.
Fair enough.
I mean, it kind of moves the industry forward. Right, so moving on from the shiny Tron lights into something a bit more tame, or not tame, depending on how you look at it. Propel, they release an off road model called the Ruckus, which is quite different from their previous model, which had quite a solid deck, whereas this one has more flexible enclosure. And they're embracing their off-road pedigree with the suspension trucks they have.
Yeah, there's two truck options on this one, isn't it? The ADT was the first one out, a lot of adjustments,
Mm,
and then
mm.
they brought up a TKP a bit later on. So
Yeah,
again, options to people.
this is another example of if you're unsure of like double kingpin, maybe you will prefer traditional kingpin, and it's nice to see that you have that freedom to do so, because we like to be comfortable.
Definitely, it's different for different people, isn't it? Everyone likes a different feel, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Moving on from that to number 19, a collaboration between Meepo, Mad Wheels, and Stooge Boards for affordable free link race grade electric skateboard trucks. It's not often skateboard trucks get redesigned, and this, well, gosh, it's a hell of a redesign. Um, they honestly probably made the most capable race grade skateboard trucks known to man. And it's a hell of an innovation, and I can't wait to see where it goes next.
Yeah, yeah. The work between those three companies was interesting, wasn't it? 'Cause I think
Mm.
Stooge invented the three link, didn't he? And they
Yeah,
won all the big races, and
mm.
getting involved with these companies and get it out to the masses, I guess.
Exactly. Like you say, the technology is there. It's just how do you make it affordable? And Meepo are the budget board company with quality, so they're probably the people to do it. Moving on.
Craig Taylor there with a video about it.
Exactly. And spinning off from these trucks, Meepo released their Monsoon Legacy race board because they wanted to introduce, I suppose, an affordable electric skateboard that could do
Race.
some silly speeds.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It's kind of the affordable race one, isn't it? Using the three links again.
like you say, and it's kind of obviously there's premium boards, but it's nice to see that this is one that you can get a good start on if you want to get into racing electric skateboards without
I was
like
thinking after I said affordable, I'm seeing 2000, but in the race game, that is sort of relatively affordable, isn't it?
exactly. I mean, like you say, they
Yeah.
could easily cost 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, and um,
Yeah.
this is an example of the prices coming down. I never thought we'd see a premium class board for racing
Mm.
become this affordable. And like I said, they've
Yeah.
got the three pin trucks, which most of them probably don't have.
All good options for people.
I. Speaking of good options, and it's nice to see companies come back after a bit of time out of the game. Folding electric skateboard designs are back. Linky, they brought out a crowdfunding, and they successfully funded the new generation of Linky. Um, it's good that they listen to all the feedback, and for those who want an electric skateboard that fits in their backpack, this is the one. Um,
Mm.
and it's just so different from what we usually have. Because, like you said, most skateboards are not portable.
Oh, skate was what I didn't catch that. Sorry, James.
Most,
Are foldable.
well,
Yeah.
just portable.
Portable. Yeah. I was thinking school lockers and sort of small places to where you could fold it up, and you got that advantage to it.
So it's nice to see them come back and actually listen to that feedback and apply it, because some of these earlier designs they promising first starts, but the technology moved so fast they couldn't keep up. Now there's a lot of very common generic parts which just work. It's good they can use those.
Yeah. It's that interlinking between parts, isn't it? Being able to common
Yeah,
connections and all that. That's what we need.
absolutely. And a miracle happened. Number 22, Ireland legalizes e-scooters and e-bikes back in May.
Whoop, whoop.
Honestly, it's like I was astonished when I found out they couldn't even use e-bikes legally, and we've had those for what, 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah.
Um, mm,
So slow on the e-bike, but quick for scooters, I guess.
Honestly, it's just shocking. Unfortunately, it's only 12 miles per hour limits. Could have been worse. Could have been 8 miles per hour, but still, 15 would have been better. Um,
Yeah.
and apparently we get 500-watt limits, which is better than 350, better than 250-watt motors. So it's kind of a win and lose situation, but any regulation to use e-scooters legally is better than none after 8 years of waiting.
I'm thinking I'd be happy with 20 miles an hour. I think
Me
20
too,
would
me
be,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
20 would be nice.
Like 350 watts for e-bikes in the US, get some
Yeah.
20 miles per hour. We only get 15.
Hmm.
So, moving on from that to number 23, Patrick Phillips and their Esk8 documentary series, which previously you could only watch really in the US. Electric Pioneers expands distribution into Amazon UK's Prime Video. It's not often you see a series about electric skateboards anywhere, but a documentary series which found its way onto Amazon Prime of all places. That's
Mm.
quite the achievement, and I believe it's won some awards as well. But very affordable to watch, £2. I'll not mention the price of the skateboards we buy or the wheels.
Well, it should up the profile, hopefully, isn't it? And get
Yeah.
some more people into it.
Like you say, it's
Grow the
these.
sport.
It lives up to the name, Electric Pioneers, one of the first electric skateboard documentaries series to ever find its way onto these platforms.
Good stuff.
Mhm. Moving on to number 24. Newly revised flat concave street wheels and hub motor sleeves from Cloudwheel with their 105mm FE Discovery and Discovery SE models. So they use the original kind of Discovery cars that Cloudwheel had, but unlike the concave wheels, which had a very small contact patch, they flattened it out. So all that slipping shouldn't happen as much. And it's good to see them go back and think, can we do this right? Instead,
Sounds like an improvement, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah. And as a
Quite
person,
pricey, I gotta say, James. 160 sort of
yeah,
dollars. Yeah.
well, it's just honestly the way it is with any new wheel design. Just expect to pay for it, and but it's good to see they're redesigning them because I still have my original 120mm card wheel donuts back when they were called donuts before they became these sleeves. Um,
Yeah.
and it's good. It's good to see. On to number 25. Walgo released a belt-driven LED deck model called the X5. Um, so it's very easy to get lost in the whole off-road board, techno board style of things. But I think this is an interesting balance between what is the boosted board shape with belt-driven motors. These were usually hub-driven boards, and it's got the light-up deck. So it's sort of like a very nice median ground, I think.
Very good.
And moving on from that, we have number 26, Evolve Skateboards introduces a new series of models called Diablo and Diablo Renegade. What did you think of this one? It's nice to see a whole new series of what they can do, Evolve, as always.
I've still not seen any Renegades in real world myself. I was hoping to ride with Matty from Evolve this summer. We're trying to
Mhm.
hook up and get for a ride up a sort of a real mountain, but
Yeah.
it didn't happen for one reason or another. I've still not seen one, so I can't really comment on the Renegade.
Mm. From what I
Um,
remember, I think people were a bit underwhelmed by it based on the amount of what is it discharge rates from the ESC or something like that.
yeah,
And the batteries.
the battery didn't supply many amps was one of
Mm,
the issues, and some people were overheating and
mm.
dropping down to safe mode and getting ejected and such like.
Yeah. So I think, but it's nice to see Evolve really have a go at making off-road models, true off-road models, and seeing what they can do, what are the limitations of it, and like you say, trying something new is always to be applauded in the e-skate space, even if their first attempt might not work out.
Keep on trying, isn't it? Keep on evolving.
Exactly. Right then, moving on to 27, new 83 model from Wowgo. This is sort of their budget off-road model, I suppose, in a sense, and it's nice to see what else they can do. Because, like you say, these budget board companies sometimes they surprise us, and as always, it's nice to see different genres of boards out there: off-road, short board, long board.
Yeah, portable, light, all different things.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah. Okay, oh,
Anything
there it
coming
is.
up? Oh, it's coming up. Here we go. For the viewers at home, get an idea.
Hmm. And one thing that I think frustrated a lot of people is even though it could be technically as powerful as you need, some people aren't really impressed by the grip tape. Grip tape matters, and it's that thing of how do you make it look interesting enough to buy.
Yeah, it is a big selling point, isn't it? The look of something and grip tape. It's a lot of real estate there, isn't it? Looking
Exactly.
down from above. Yeah,
Mhm, mhm.
a bit underwhelmed by that one, but I guess you can swap it out yourself.
Yep, yep. But it's those little things that matter. Like you say, most of what we stare at is the top of the skateboard, so the grip tape better look interesting.
Yeah, if you want to look good.
Moving on from that, 20 Esk8 Skateboard releases a gear-driven model called the Aries X3. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this previously was, I think, gear-driven or direct drive, but it has certainly been the year for gear drives.
For
Can't move
sure.
for them, to be honest.
Yeah, they've really come on this year, haven't they? It was only a few sort of premium boards previously.
Mhm. But it,
Haystack have released lots this year, isn't it? I've ridden with lots of people on Haystacks this
mm,
year.
absolutely. I mean, the funny thing is, Acetec and Art's still quite new to the scene as well. But they
Yeah,
really are one of those companies that surprisingly hit the ground running with all the
running.
right things.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Moving on from
The
that,
Z3 was a big hit. I was going to say the X3 here and then the Z3. A few friends have got.
hmm, number 29, a new king of 80 hub driven boards appeared, the 31 miles per hour Tiny Explorer Pro hub.
Yeah, Four,
So,
14S for hub
well,
drive, eh? Plenty of voltage.
honestly, I mean, as a person who is the hub motor purist and just loves to see how far we can push hub motors still, um, it's been great to see this because when we have 80 hub motors, they'll do 24 miles per hour with with backfire, 28 miles per hour with max bind, and now 31 miles per hour with Tiny's off-road hub motors. So it's good to see, and it's quite the sizable battery. That I mean, 1,008 watt hours is well,
That's
gosh,
decent, isn't it? Yeah.
how, and like you
I
say,
guess,
the God,
yeah, like previously hub motors, they were sort of less powerful, weren't they? But this is someone really pushing the envelope there. It's good to see.
absolutely, and 14S4P is quite the arrangement. So
Yeah,
that thing will have some power.
for sure.
I also love that it's single kingpin trucks because most of these 80 hub driven boards are double kingpin trucks, which has been my
Yeah.
pet peeve for 3 years.
Yeah, we did have a glut of them, didn't we, for a long time? The double dual kingpin.
Okay, moving on to another one, which is, well, gosh, where do you even start with this? It probably one of the second most eye-catching models to come out this year. The Uditer boards, and they're crowdfunding for a model called the Pixel, which has a programmable LED screen on the top of the skateboard, the electric skateboard. I mean,
Forget grip
wow.
tape. You got changing pattern on this one.
I mean, they saw the LED skateboard deck sidewalls. They saw the RGB lights and were like, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, that's it. Hold my beer. I've just finished eating my mushroom pizza.
I mean, like some people are saying, if you put a movie into a GIF format, you could technically play it on this skateboard.
It's a first, isn't it? That's a first for me. Yeah,
As
that's
far as like
definitely.
eye-catching skateboards go,
Yeah,
probably nothing competes with this.
yeah. I'm not going to disagree with that one, James.
Mhm. And the real question is, though, like we've talked before, will it stand up to the abuse, the constant flex of the skateboard deck? They've just teased a shortboard equivalent to this, so perhaps the extra flex wasn't what they wanted to see, and it probably broke some of the LEDs. So maybe a shortboard format for this is probably better. But I guess we'll see
Yeah,
when the reviews come out.
yeah, yeah. I've not heard of any problems in the wild, but I haven't seen any either. You know.
Hmm. Right. Number 31, Backfire releases their LED deck shortboard Nalu model. Unfortunately, it's had some battery and recall issues. Yeah,
It looked so promising initially, didn't it? When it first came out, I was really excited about it.
hmm.
And then
And
they
it's nice
said,
to yeah, it's good to see the LED deck sidewall format find its way into a shortboard, and it does use the um, MePo, no, X-Way Ripple hub motors, which are quite powerful. But these are like 5 mil largest, so it's 16 miles per hour, not 18 miles per hour, which is a bit of a downside. But as far as slimline designs go, it's really nice. Like you said, there was what it was meant to be a 2 amp hour battery, then they had to up it to 4 amp hours, and then they found
yeah,
out. But carry on, you
it
tell
was
us.
it was travel first of all, wasn't it? Then it became too big for air travel, I should have said.
Mm,
And then there's been a recall on some safety issues, I think, with some of the cells
yeah.
from the cell manufacturer. So
Mm,
fair play to Backfire, they're being abundantly safety conscious. But I love the look of it. The surf truck as well. It's an interesting little board proposition.
Oh yeah, honestly, I agree. If I hadn't had bought the Meepo Mini Dual and put it onto a different deck, and an X-Way Ripple and put it onto a different deck, I would have bought these because they
Yeah,
just ooze style, and that's something
yeah,
you don't get often. It looks like a normal skateboard. It really does. The graphics, the lights. I mean, how could anyone not love one of these? Um, Very well done. But like you say, the teething troubles trying to get
teething
it.
issues.
Teething issues, yeah.
We'll keep
Right?
our fingers crossed for that one for next year then. Let's hope things pick up.
Definitely, definitely. Number 32, Atmos Gear successfully fund and launch their electric inline skates company. There's not many electric roller skate companies around, but the interesting thing about Atmos Gear is they seem to be the boosted of inline electric skates. They've gone through so many different hub motor designs, pancake hub motors, for their free wheeled inline skates. And they've done a US tour to promote this, which is something, well, how many would even attempt that? And like I said, they've had a very successful Kickstarter campaign. And I'd say these are the ones to watch for this format, this genre. Honestly,
Yeah,
I'd
looks
love
good.
I'd
Looks
love
like
to
a
see what
solid boot, doesn't it, on that one? Is the boot part of it, or do you
it is. It
sort of?
is. It is. You
Yeah,
can technically, I think, also put on different boots, but yes, the boot can be
yeah,
done
for
with it.
this one. Yeah,
And I'd love to see electric skateboard riders, reviewers, be as bold to try skates.
I think did I see Cami? We tried out some
Hmm.
skates this year. Cami
Yeah, he
skates.
made his own, quite good ones, but he did make his own. Like I said,
That was
seeing
it.
production ones for the first time in their generation is great.
A big advantage I see with roller skates is portability and up and down steps. I'm not a big roller skater myself. I have done a little, but yes, very
And
good.
brakes, always
Uh,
brakes. I mean, I
always.
think about the blessed godsend that is brakes on electric skateboards. How could we rob our sisters, our skating friends, of these?
Yeah. First thing I always mention to somebody if I'm out and they're kind of asking about the skateboard, they're saying it's got brakes
Hmm,
before I
hmm.
start going about top speeds and such like.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's only so much of a heel stop you can do on some rollerblades.
Yes. I remember the stop was on the front. Got Craig in, yeah. Come on, Craig. Somebody wants to see a review.
Hmm. And on to another sad one. 33. Electric skateboard companies Apex Boards and Moon eSkate, who specialised in gear drives, go boosted. That was quite a sad one to see happen.
Yeah,
Seemed
definitely.
impossible, really, for Apex, especially.
Yeah, a lot of my friends ride them and love them. They use a lot of MBS parts.
Mm.
Obviously, later on we'll be chatting about the MBS board that's come out.
But yeah, there's I believe they were UK based Apex Boards. and
yeah, they
there's
were.
so few of them, if any, now around that are UK-based companies.
Yeah, there's only one I can think of.
Mhm. Moving on to number 34. Onboard releases their gear-driven Prometheus model, and it looks quite a piece of a machine. This Onboard are another
Mm,
one that started out as a budget board company, and they have really thrown the sink at the wall with this, with the flexible enclosures, the gear-driven motors. Um, it's
Option to attach bindings. I think there was pre-drilled holes for bindings.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. It's a valid attempt, and it's good to see them have a go at saying, can we do something more premium?
and at a reasonable price, I would say. Yeah, for what you were getting there,
Yeah, yeah,
1850.
exactly. And another example of gear-driven boards being adopted by the budget board companies, which we like affordable prices and affordable parts, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. It makes it accessible to more people, isn't it? Because budget is the first sort of restriction, I think, first. Or
exactly. On to 35. Radiant Performance and their Mach 1 electric skateboard has won the Gold Award at this year's
mm,
Australian Good Design Awards. If I'm not mistaken, this was won prior in 2015 by Evolve Skateboards. Unsure again if Evolve won this again, but in recent years. But yeah, electric skateboards winning Best Design Awards. That's best in
yeah,
show, isn't it? Um,
absolutely. It's an amazing board. This one, this Mac one. I've got. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
More of a premium class board, but I mean,
Yeah,
how uncommon is it to see any electric skateboard win awards for best in show?
yeah, and yeah, you were famous one as well on the street wheels generally.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, very good.
And on to another quite surprisingly good development this year, and back to Evolve. They introduced these Super Grip 97 millimeter
Yeah,
wheels with a dual durometer of 55 on the inside and 76 on the outer compound. Um, it's not often you see any any wheel, skateboard wheel that soft on the inside. But dual durometers are definitely catching on, and it seems like a very surprising one to see.
this this is a chap who was meant to come for a skateboard with a Renegade this year, but we didn't see him. Um, Swiss company, isn't it? Did when we spoke about this a while ago.
Hmm.
But their durometer wasn't as soft on the inner core, was it? So
Mhm.
this should have better suspension.
Well, that's it. I mean, 72A is pretty much the standard for soft urethane wheels. So to see one that claims to be, gosh, 55A on the inside,
Yeah,
this is one that I want to experience because maybe I could put it on the Revel drive. There's rumours I think it uses the Discovery core, not the standard ABEC. But it's one of those I don't know unless I have it in my hands.
yeah. I want to hear more about this. It seems very encouraging.
Another example of wheels being redesigned. Dual durometer wheels. How about that?
Yeah, literally reinventing the wheel.
Hmm. Don't
But
happen that
on
often.
on 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 show first, weren't they?
Hmm. With the Tarmax wheels.
That's the one. Well remembered, James. I couldn't think of the name then.
Moving on from that to 37, a new player. A new off road e skate series from MTB Mountain Boards. Did I get that right? MTB this time. I got it wrong last time.
MBS, sorry, James.
You see, what
It's
happened is I was
you're thinking
copying.
mountain. You're thinking mountain board. You are. MTB is mountain board, and then MBS are the company.
This is the second time on this on a live stream
Yeah.
I've got their name wrong because I copied and pasted the same incorrect information.
It's okay.
MBS
That's
skateboards.
them. Yeah.
They are the off-road specialists, and now they've introduced an electric skateboard. Is that right?
Yeah, they've been around in the gravity game since mountain boarding began, pretty much. Is my understanding on it.
Exactly, and I believe this has a swappable top-mounted aux pack similar to what X-Way have. Um,
That's a good idea. Swappable top backs. If only someone had done that before.
Mm. Mhm.
Mm,
And they've this is a hit the ground flying kind of entry into the
yeah,
skate industry. I mean, there's off-road boards and then there's off-road electric skateboards, and this pulled no punches with the sheer volume of battery capacity these have.
yeah. It looks like a real off-road mountain board. As I say, the top mounted is what qualifies it for me to be able to really work off-road.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, the price was the big issue, wasn't it? People say it
Yeah.
would stop a lot of people.
Mm.
The expense of it.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's not often you see a new electric skateboard company start out with a premium level one, and this is, make no mistakes, a premium class price.
Yeah, yeah. Craig has got a review out recently with Dylan there. I saw that earlier today. It was a very good review.
Mhm. But it could be useful for off-road mountain races. That could be a new spin-off from Esk8 Las Vegas, Esk8 Con. Um,
Yeah, yeah. More off road stuff. We've been having some in the UK at Bugs Boarding the last couple of
oh,
summers, which is the dedicated
hmm,
sort of downhill gravity mountain boarding centre, the one that's left in the UK.
excellent.
And hoping to see some of these this year there.
Hmm. Almost there. 38, a greatly revised shortboard model from Evolve with their Stoke X. What have you heard about the Stoke X and the original Stoke?
I know that this one, the battery is bigger, which people were asking for.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's being considered a good thing.
Yeah.
Definitely not airline friendly, but
Mhm.
a good option for people who want that short board.
Yeah, I like to see. Well, I'm happy to see that they've increased the speed. When they first introduced the Stoke, it was only 22 miles per hour, which is kind of substandard when you consider the cheapest of cheapest budget electric skateboards were doing 24 miles per hour at the time, if not more, a lot more. Um, yeah, so
It,
they've.
I remember it was going to be the Bantam, I think, originally,
Mm,
before it was the Stoke, and then just before it got released, they realised that someone else had the Bantam,
that's right. Yeah, I don't think
and
they
I
stuck
think
around.
no, and then the old ESC at that time, as you say, was only able to produce 22, which is yeah,
Mm.
a bit disappointing.
Exactly. But one thing that I love that they decided to do with this model is you might remember the Evolve, was it Bustin? It's like a pintail board equivalent to an Evolve, and it was very limited edition. But they decided to kind of bring some of that pinstriping surf skate styling to
Yeah,
the Stoke X, which I'm jealous that I never got that deck because that's really all I wanted to see. Not the gear driven motors, the deck.
the aesthetics of it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got a bit of old school cool and a retro cool.
Mm. So it's once again it's a great iteration improvement that people have wanted, and like you say, the size of the battery they've put into this little one, whew, they will be happy.
Yeah, we all want to ride further and longer.
Hmm. Hmm. And unfortunately, two companies that could not do that that we lost were UIOFO board and Eoven board. Their websites disappeared, and it's a shame because they were the last company that you could get a replacement remote for a Revel drive from. And like I said, Revel went, and then they went, and it's just kind of dominoed almost into the adjacent things. Sad to see,
Oh
really.
no, that's going to be the limiting factor then when those remotes are no more.
Yeah. There was loads of like discussions I think over the years with is it Eoven board where they were saying that decks were snapping and so I don't know, maybe it is something that's for the best, but it's kind of hard to say because they never tell us when they're going boosted. They never sort of paint the picture of what went wrong, which is something maybe we need to have a discussion about someday.
Hmm. Lets customers down when it goes that way, doesn't it? I guess
Mm-hmm.
they're just trying their best to keep going and selling, and they don't want to kind of let on there's any problems.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like you say, people do, I think, forming an emotional attachment to these brands because, like you say, it almost becomes like a family member. The skateboard. I say to people when they buy an electric skateboard, "Congratulations on the new family member."
They don't realise till they've got it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's almost like when someone's had a new child. He weighs 8 kilograms. Or like, this is 20. This is a big baby.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, I'd love to see like a congratulations. You've made a DIY board card. Like a
Yeah,
Hallmark card, but for electric
I got you.
skateboard riders. That'd be funny.
And Esk8 jumpers, isn't it, as well? We were
Well,
talking about earlier.
exactly. We'll get
Yeah,
to
we'll
that.
get onto that. Yeah, sorry.
And the last one of this 40 list is two new skateboard models from Meepo. One called the Go, and the other one called the Edge.
Spot.
These are basically the belt-driven equivalent to what were, I believe, their V5 or V6 models, which were hub-driven. So it's that example of you can have hub, you can have gear drive, you can have belt-driven motors, giving people the options. And like you say, the parts are there. These budget board companies can do stuff like this.
Good stuff. More choice for the people.
Yeah.
Also, Suki likes these ones. Pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. And it is kind of nice to see that people are still using the what was it called? The short board with boosted.
I can't think of the name now. Sorry, James.
Give me a second. Boosted boards. Short board. It had a very specific name. Um, hmm. I think they just called it the Mini S. But anyhow, so Boosted had a very distinct grip tape on their shortboard, and it's nice to see that companies are still doing that in a very subtle kind of paying homage to it way, which is what I guess Meepo have done with this. So yeah, that's the top 40 of this year, and I think
Very good.
it's quite interesting iterations. And like I said, I mean, gosh, indicators on an electric skateboard. How long did that take to happen? Oh,
And this
oh.
maybe you. Yeah. Oh, here we go.
So
Here we go. Suki found it.
see what I mean? It's a very subtle kind of grey and black grip tape, but that is the formula that quite a few of them use, and it's sort of like paying homage to the fallen friend.
Should stay clean a little while. That one as well, isn't it? Maybe sort of darker colours there.
Yeah. So before I go into my 10 wishes for Esk8 in 2025, are there any things you'd like to talk about, like what you would hope and so forth?
I hope we don't get problems with parts coming from China. I'm hearing rumblings on. So yeah, that's my worry, I guess. Hope that the parts come over smooth.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I think we could probably, well, also, before I forget, shout out to Minty, who is currently at a gig in Glasgow by the Manor Pint.
Yeah, if anyone's watching the podcast, who's at the show, you see Minty, I'm sure he'd be happy to have a drink.
Yeah. And one of the funny things that came up on another spin-off is we were saying, like, Christmas jumpers. Where are the electric skateboard themed Christmas jumpers? I mean, even better, make it armored.
You actually use it riding then, couldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Festive group rides.
There's probably an alliteration phrase in there. The fearless festive jumper. Cool. Right then, I'll get into my top. Well, the last 10, or should I say, up to 50. The 10 things that I want from, or should I say, we want from electric skateboards in 2025. 41. Electric.
Suki's got one there, so I got to say she was mentioning earlier, wasn't it? A little light off-road board.
It's a good question. Is it possible to have an off-road electric skateboard that is a shortboard, one that doesn't weigh too much? I think my immediate response would be, would it work with the wheelbase? Long wheelbase, great stability. Short wheelbase.
You'd have to have wide trucks to kind of make it.
Exactly.
But yeah, you might be on a losing battle. There might be a reason why most of them are bigger.
Aye. Right then. Okay, back to that list. 41. I want to see electric inline skates become more mainstream, plus more designs, more companies, because there has to be more than just one, two, three companies out there. And the funny thing is, we've got all these electric skateboard companies who might try electric scooters or might try electric bikes. Why not try electric skates? You have the motors, they have the knowledge. Surely it's possible. Yeah, I think that'd be a really interesting challenge.
Could be a little diversification from couldn't anyone who wants to take up the challenge?
Exactly. I mean, when you think about it, really, we can't move for different electric skateboard companies, even though we have lost some of them. But there's basically no one. I mean, no one making electric roller skates, electric quad skates. So if they even just made one decent design, they'd basically be the pioneers of it, which I think business-wise makes a lot of sense.
Less competition, I guess, isn't it? As long as there's less
Exactly.
demand. Yeah.
Hmm. 42, gear-driven systems to become more affordable. As you probably know, they have really caught on this year, and it'd be good to see them become even more affordable. Please make a system that's like £600 or less.
Yeah. Less the better.
Mhm. Number 43. I really, really hope that anyone brings back swappable battery systems because it is doable, it is possible. Like you've seen with the X-Way Wave and the X-Way Flex Paragon, is that what it's called? But yeah, those systems have swappable batteries. There has to be more out there than just one or two companies doing it.
Well, we were chatting earlier when we MBS. They've come in with a swappable battery, and
Mhm.
I've DIY'd them on my mounting board. I think I showed you in the summer, didn't I? That
Yeah.
I've used the Omni clip method for mine. So there's
Mhm.
definite advantage. And you love the swappable, as you said, isn't it, with your Rebel kits?
Aye. And it'd be a shame to kind of lose that option to, if you need more range, bring it. If you don't, you've got a
Yeah.
short, lightweight electric skateboard. So, number 44. Please give us the legalization of electric scooters in the UK. It has been 8 years. I'm tired of talking about this. They should just do it.
Do it already. All electric vehicles, green. Let's get it happening.
Yep. 45. Stronger 70mm size class hub motors. They are quite powerful. Those X-Way Ripple backfire Nalu hub motors, but I feel like they could get a tiny bit more power out of them. It's one of those things where it can climb hills to a sufficient level where it doesn't need to be any faster, but it'll climb a steep hill. That's kind of what I want to see because I do think we can still design stronger hub motors.
Yeah, the little wheel would have a more efficient torque, so that's
Mhm.
in my favour. It's just the power coming to them,
Mm,
isn't it? The wattage is what we need then.
exactly, exactly. On to 46. We definitely need to see more electric skateboard films and songs, poetry. None of this AI nonsense. Make it yourself.
Yeah, don't be lazy, guys.
Yeah.
Not the world.
We were talking a couple of months or years ago. If you could make an electric skateboard film, what would it be about? We said there needs to be like an almost what's that film? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas equivalent road
Vegas.
trip to Vegas.
Wow. See if it can stay on the skateboard.
Yep, yep. Because I think that there is a lot of comedy to the way we enjoy electric skateboards, and there has to be a film that can kind of put that together. What will I do if hub motors go extinct? Well, up until the creation of gear-driven motors and the affordability of them, I was pretty much a hub motor person. But if I get one more electric skateboard, it's going to be a super range beast with gear-driven motors. I want two tall, and that's the board I need. I just need the finances.
Someone send James one to review one. and a proper long-term review, maybe like a year's loan of one, and
Yes.
give us a good review. Not one of these you've had it for one or two rides, and you know.
Yeah. 47 softer than 72 wheels, especially for hub motors. Sure, there are those 54A Evolve wheels, and I think we can still get hub motor sleeves softer. I mean, the softest ones I experienced were the Galaxy Pro ones from Cloudwheel, but it feels like we can still make these wheels softer, and I think that's what I'd like to see.
Nice thick bit of rubber around them, and that's what you want.
Mhm.
Soft
Well, that's it.
surface.
Even recently, we never really had truly flat concaved wheels for off road, well, and street racing, I suppose.
Yeah.
hmm then 48 new UK based electric skateboard companies. There has to be more out there than just one or two companies. Um, and I'm sure people would support you to do that because it can get a bit lonely here in the UK.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the more the better, isn't it? We just got Tramper in the UK, one of the best in the world.
So, like you say, the community is there. It's just a matter of linking these companies and ideas together and giving it a shot. Right. 49. Um, improved electric skateboard racing events and gatherings worldwide.
Mm.
Like you say, the networking, more of it needs to happen because if the industry is struggling, we've got to put our heads together and find some solutions.
Yeah, I think things to encourage community to get people together and enjoying their electric vehicles, and that is racing for some people, and racing
Mhm.
sort of increases the profile, doesn't it? But I think
Yep.
not everyone wants to race, so there's got to be lots of
Mhm,
different
mhm.
ways of meeting up.
Yeah. And lastly, 50. Affordable electric drift trikes and go karts. I would definitely buy an electric drift trike or an electric go kart if they didn't cost £3,000.
Yeah,
And if we can make these flipping electric skateboards affordable, surely we can do the same with the others.
there's
So
so
maybe.
much fun. There's so much fun with trikes. I've had a few goes this summer. Don't
Mhm.
own one myself, and they're great.
I mean, I got so desperate for sort of an electric go kart, I chopped off the front end of a kid's pedal go kart and I put it on my
Yeah,
electric skateboard like a
I
Morgan
saw this.
freewheeler. Um,
Yeah, I saw this.
there has to be something a bit more held together than what I did for an affordable
Yeah, but
price.
you might have been the start of it, James. You know,
One view.
I can't answer that question, Suki. I can't think of it. I can't think of any other. Sorry.
So
And
yeah, we
being based in the UK, such great support.
Hmm. So, unless anyone has any final questions, conversation starters, topics that you think we might have missed, James, I think it's time to call this video to a close and say goodbye to
Get
2024.
ourselves off to bed.
Yeah, yeah.
Sleep
Oh,
time.
11:15. We need that beauty
Yeah,
sleep. Skateboarding in the
yeah,
morning.
absolutely. It's been a pleasure as always, James. And
Thank you.
silent Suki there. Um, keep enjoying riding, everyone, and we'll see you next week and next year.
Awesome. Right. Well, until then, ride safe. I'll see you in the new year.